Ah, red poo. Or maroon. This also applies to maroon. Did you look up why your poo is red on the internet? Then why are you watching a video about it? You can find the info you need much faster by reading, though in that case you'd miss this guy. So I suppose it's worth it. Though if it's super red, there may be something serious going on. Though it can also be nothing. That seems to be the theme with this series. This is the last video in this series, so if you're interested in any other color in this rainbow of crap, then check it out. The Poopy Playlist. I'm Austin, and this is Why My Doo-Doo Red on Azoth University. So, of course, the obvious reason is blood. But let's hope it's not, for now, and cover the more innocent answers first. Did you recently eat a stupid amount of red food coloring? Or beets? Well, there you go. And that's about the only good answer, really. Now we get into the less fun ones. So question, did you make the water red, or are the logs themselves red? As those both point to different things. For instance, red water is what you've probably guessed. It's blood. It's just blood all up in that toilet. But specifically, that would be blood from near or even at the end of your digestive tract. It had no time to bind to the sticky dew, so it just comes out as blood. Just pure blood. Lovely. The most common answer in this case is hemorrhoids, which are no fun, and I won't be showing you them. Basically, you've got inflamed veins around the anus. And you must have taken a pretty sweet dump because it was too much for it to handle, and they broke. Thankfully, most hemorrhoids aren't super bad, and you can treat them yourself. Apply an ice pack directly to the anus. It will probably feel great. Also, take warm baths for 10 to 15 minutes. Very soothing. There's also ointments and whatnot. And then there's everyone's favorite, changing your diet. Eat more fiber, sucker! It's good for your butt. Anywho, if the logs themselves are red, it means the bleeding is happening deeper in the digestive tract, but still in the intestines. If it were happening in the upper digestive tract, like the stomach or esophagus, the blood would have digested into a black, tarry color. More on that here. This intestinal bleeding can come from a number of things, like a tumor. Yep, it's cancer. You have cancer. Yes, thank you, Internet. It's always cancer. But don't worry, because it can also be something not as scary, like an intestine infection breaking down your intestinal walls. No, that's still scary. Yeah. And if that's the case, then you definitely need to see a doctor and change your diet. The doctor is just going to give you a pill to fix the symptom, but you won't solve the problem at its source. Right? Thankfully, it's easy enough. All that bad bacteria on your gut feeds off of sugar. So you should stop eating sugar and grains, because grains turn into sugar, for a few weeks at least. Now, other things that can cause overall intestine damage are inflammatory bowel diseases like Crohn's disease or ulcerative colitis, which gives you loads of ulcers, basically unhealing open wounds. It can also always be a fissure too, a cut in the intestines caused by either eating something hard and sharp or by pushing too hard. Listen, if when doing your number 2, you have to push hard at all, you aren't doing something right. Either you're relieving your bowels too much for right now, or your diet is not very good, forcing you into these things. What you put in your body directly impacts your entire quality of life. So get good. Here's a fun one. Have you ever heard of arteriovenous malformations? Because it can also be that. Basically, your cells communicate with their neighboring cells, right? They're all talking to each other. And sometimes they make mistakes. In this case, the cells of your intestine and the cells of your arteries and veins around the intestine forget to mention that blood isn't supposed to go into the inner intestine. Stupid cells. Like, the human body is pretty awesome most of the time, but sometimes it just really isn't. And that's part of why I love talking about it so much. Speaking of which, maroon stools, especially in infants and kids, is likely the cause of intussusception.
Intussusception.
I did pronounce it right. Wow. In summary, it means the intestine sort of folded into itself like a telescope. Obviously, they aren't supposed to do that. So inflammation occurs, and then sometimes popping of blood vessels occurs. And best of all, this means that the folded in part of the intestine isn't getting any of the blood flow that it needs. So it starts decaying and becomes gangrenous, which leads to infection and shock, which can be lethal. So, see a doctor. Right now. At a clinic. With machines that can check this stuff. And I sure hope that wasn't what you got, because it's no fun. But you know what is fun? this channel. And while this poo series is done for now, you can expect a lot more on health and human physiology videos here, as well as other topics, because this is Azoth University, where we cover everything and have fun along the way. So subscribe, and we'll see you next time. Never stop improving.